Hey guys, welcome or welcome back. Today is going to be a special video because I asked my friends over on Instagram to give me some ideas and I picked my 3 favorites. I say favorites, but they were all awesome, but these were 3 my family had never had. So I will link the ladies' channels down below and let you know who they are as I get into each recipe. This first one is a family recipe for Jess over at Jess The Boys. It is really good. We loved it. You're going to just start by putting in however many chicken thighs you want into a 9x13 inch baking dish. I made enough for leftovers the next day. You're going to top it with salt, pepper, seasoned salt, and a bunch of curry powder. And at this point, you're also going to top it with some dried parsley if you have it. You'll see after I get done with this part, I ran out of dried parsley, but I happen to have some fresh, so I just tossed it in there. But you're going to, like I said, coat them with all the seasonings and then just kind of shake it off and try to get the other side coated with the excess. And then you're going to pour in a bag of frozen broccoli, just kind of even it up. And then Jess used 6 tablespoons of butter, but since I kind of doubled the amount of chicken, like I said, for leftovers, I just went ahead and used the whole stick. But you're going to cut them into tablespoons and just spread them around. And next you're going to drizzle it really well with honey. We have some Mike's Hot Honey, and if you have that, that was really good as well. I wanted to kind of try it out. It's not really that spicy, but my husband loves it. I'm not like a huge fan of honey just on things, you know what I mean? Like he'll put this on everything, but in this dish cooked, it was really good. And she also put some soy sauce on this as well, and I completely forgot about it. But then you're going to cover it and cook it at 375 for an hour, and the last 10 minutes you're going to take the foil off. And while that was cooking, I just made some rice in my Instant Pot. I rinsed and threw in 2 cups of white rice and put in 2 cups of water, a little bit of oil and salt, and cooked it for 4 minutes on high and let it naturally release for 10, and it comes out perfect every time. And once it was ready, I pulled it out and I let it sit for a few minutes. Obviously it's kind of hot, just let it settle down a little bit, and plated it up with the rice and put some chicken and broccoli on top and poured a little bit of spooned a little bit of the juice, and we loved it. Like my husband was even the biggest fan, I would say. He ate the leftovers for lunch the next day. And like I said, this amount made enough. So if you're wanting to do it like that, you could make the amount that I did, or you can cut it in half if you're just wanting to do it for dinner. Anyways, this was awesome. Thank you, Jess, for this idea. Like I said, I will have her channel linked down below. Next, I'm going to make some chicken piccata. I'm just starting with making some mashed potatoes on the side as well in my Instant Pot and just cutting them up in big chunks, and I cook it on high for 8 minutes and they're perfect every time. But this meal is from Adrianne over, and her channel's name is Adrianne Marie. I will link that down below as well. She said it was something that her family really loves, so I had to give it a shot. Another one that we had never made before. You're going to start by slicing in half 2 large chicken breasts and then just sprinkling salt and pepper on each side. And then you're going to dredge them in flour and just kind of shake the excess off. And next, in a cast iron skillet, you're going to toss in a couple tablespoons of unsalted butter, a little bit of olive oil or avocado oil, and then you're going to cook each chicken breast for 3 minutes on each side. And you're going to repeat the process with the other ones. Just add in a little bit more butter and olive oil to the pan after you're finished with these first. And then once all the chicken has been browned, you're going to just add a 1/4 cup of lemon juice, 1/2 cup of chicken broth, and a 1/4 cup of brined capers. And then you're going to just kind of whisk it up just to get all of the brown bits and all that stuff off the bottom. And then you're going to return your chicken to the sauce and let it cook for about another 10 minutes until they're all, or your biggest piece at least, is at 165. And while my chicken was cooking, I just finished up my mashed potatoes. I've got about 1/2 stick of butter in there, a good bit of pepper, a lot of salt. You know, potatoes always seem to need a lot of salt, so I put a lot in there. And then I always put in a little bit of sour cream. I had some cheese left that was shredded up in the fridge in a bag, so I threw that in there as well. And a little bit of milk, and that's it. That's how my family loves them. Come out perfect every single time. And once your chicken is ready, you're just going to remove it and put it onto a serving platter or whatever you want to do with it. And then to the sauce, you're going to add a couple more tablespoons of unsalted butter, melt it, whisk it around a little bit, and then pour it on top. And that's it. I thought the presentation of this was really pretty and fun as well. And this is another one that I'd heard of before. I don't know why I was threatened by it, but it was really easy to make and we all loved it. I don't know why either, but I was expecting capers to be like an olive type flavor or something. I had never had them before, and they're not at all. This was another one that we will be making again. And thank you again, Adrianne, for this idea, and I will have her channel linked down below as well. Next, I'm going to be making some sour cream chicken enchiladas. Abby over at Millennial Mom gave me this idea, and like I said, I'll have her channel link down below as well. Every recipe I found didn't have you adding any seasonings to the chicken. They just had you sauteing it up in the pan with some onion, and it just didn't sit right with me. So I decided to season my chicken up really well first before I cooked it. And I'm just using salt, pepper, cumin, chipotle chili powder, onion powder, and some chili lime seasoning from Trader Joe's. And I am coating each side with this really well. And next you're gonna just put them in your whatever. I used the cast iron skillet, and it would have probably been easier if I would have flattened them first, but at this time my son was napping, and so I just had to roll with it. I was not about to make a bunch of noise, so I just browned or blackened them pretty much on each side until they were at 165. It probably took like 10 minutes each side since they were pretty thick. But once they were ready, I just diced them up after I let them rest for about 10 minutes or so into big chunks. And this chicken was so good. And for the roux, you're going to just melt a 1/4 cup of butter, and once that's all melted, toss in a 1/4 cup of flour and just whisk it around. Just make sure you get all that flour flavor cooked out. And once that is ready, you're going to put in a 15-ounce can of chicken broth, and the recipe called for a 4-ounce can of the diced green chilies. The can I had was the 7-ounce, and so I didn't use all of it, but realistically I could have just tossed the rest in. So whichever size you have is fine. And then once this is all whisked together and thickened up a little bit, you're going to add a cup of sour cream and remove it from the heat and just let it sit up while you put together your enchiladas. And while your sauce is thickening up on the stove, you're going to just assemble your enchiladas. And the recipe called for flour tortillas, which we don't like with enchiladas. So whichever kind you like, we prefer corn. I just threw in a little bit of the chicken and some Monterey cheddar cheese and just filled the pan up. I can't remember off the top of my head how many. The recipe said 8 flour. So since they're bigger, just keep that in mind. If you use flour, it's only going to be 8 of them. And then once they're all ready, you're going to just pour that sauce over top. And I just thought that sauce was so pretty. It was so satisfying to pour it over and now watching it. But anyway, you're going to then put the rest of your Monterey Jack cheddar cheese on it and cook it uncovered at 400 for 20 minutes. And then I broiled it for a couple minutes, and I thought it turned out so beautifully. I was saddened to see that I was out of fresh cilantro, so I put a little bit of dry on there for whatever reason. It's kind of the most pointless seasoning. It doesn't even taste like cilantro, but anyway, aesthetically pleasing at least. And with these, I just served up some refried beans, and in mine, I just put a little bit of sour cream and taco seasoning and always top them with cheese, and this was a hit. There were no leftovers. Thank you so much, Abby, for this recommendation, and I will have her channel linked down below as well. And next, I'm going to just make a taco soup. I'm just caramelizing a little bit of onion, and I had some turkey sausage in the freezer that I've been wanting to use, so I decided just to use it up and throw it in there, and it turned out really well. And just going to brown that up and then drain it. And into my crock pot, I am throwing in a can of kidney beans, a can of black beans that have been rinsed, your meat mixture, a can of diced tomatoes, and a can of corn, undrained. And then I chopped up a little bit of a chipotle pepper that I had in the freezer as well. Not too much because it was really spicy. And then I put in 2 tablespoons of taco seasoning and 2 tablespoons of ranch seasoning. And then I just eyeballed some chicken broth. It depends on how you like it. Since all the meat's cooked and everything, you're not really going to get a lot of excess juice with this. So however you prefer yours. I'm pretty sure I ended up adding a little bit more broth to mine here, but I cooked it on low for 6 hours. And then I just topped it with sour cream and some more of the Monterey Jack cheddar. And this is always a favorite of everyone's here, except for my middle child. She hates soups. I don't know. But anyways, thank y'all so much for watching. If you enjoyed this video, be sure to like it, comment, let me know your thoughts, and subscribe to my channel. Turn on the notification bell. I appreciate y'all so much.